What's going on, guys? And today I have a little fun video for you because what I have here is the brand new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And what's kind of interesting about holding this package in my hands right now is this device doesn't officially release for about another week. So I wanted to do another unboxing video and a little overview of my initial thoughts of the S25 Ultra, because coming from the S22 Ultra that I got all of 3 years ago now, I thought this was a perfect time for an upgrade, and there's a couple reasons why that we're going to get into in this video. Now, this isn't the first time Samsung sent me something earlier than release. The S22 Ultra, coincidentally enough, I got, I think, about 4 days before the official release date. So to have this over a week, because it's January 30th as I'm recording this, the device doesn't officially come out for till February 7th, about a week and a day until it officially comes out, is going to be kind of cool to check out. So let's open this. Now, when you order directly from Samsung's website, you kind of get an $80 credit that you'll see I used it on kind of some random stuff that'll be little accessories to the phone. And when I look at it, yeah, it's in here. I'm looking at the packing slip here. I had thought that maybe, just maybe, they only sent me the other things I had ordered, because the initial email said some or all of your order had been shipped. So I kind of thought it was just going to be some, because I still have 2 weeks until the street date of this phone. Now, I like the packaging. You know, packaging is always super simplistic and a lot of times, but Samsung used, you know, the cool little I don't know what you would call it, like graded packaging for it, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to look at the S25 Ultra. My short attention span, you know, I can be entertained by some little things, but they did a good job in packaging this. So, let's pull this all out. I guess I'll show you guys what I got first, because with that $80 credit, I kind of just got some phone cases. I don't know why that was a little bit of a surprise, but I got a S25 magnetic case. I don't know if you can see it all that well. I got a silicone case. There we go. Now the lighting wants to pick it up. I got a Kind Suit case. And I got some anti-reflecting film. I guess you put this on your screen so it doesn't reflect. Whatever. But here is the prized possession. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, this is smaller packaging than they usually use. And there's kind of a reason behind all that. So let's get into it. I like how it's a little like pull tab to open up the phone. That's kind of cool. And then I guess it should just slide out, and it does. So before we get into it, let's look at what they give you, because of course Samsung puts in their little slip pouch like this. Which, does this open, or do I have to use a box cutter for this? No, this should just kind of open somehow. Certain things like this I am not fully qualified for, and I need an adult. But okay, it opens. So it comes with, of course, its little SIM removal tool. I used to think these things were so cool when I first got one, when the SIM cards weren't like right by the battery, and when batteries stopped becoming removable. And they give you a USB-C to C charger. Now, what isn't included that's worth mentioning is a charging brick. They give you the USB-C cable, but not the brick itself. And I am a little iffy with that. A lot of companies are doing that nowadays, so it's not just like a Samsung cheaping out type thing. It's, I guess, just kind of common practice, because companies, I assume, know that you probably have charging bricks, and it prevents e-waste. But this does look like a nice size cable. It's probably like a 3 to 5 footer, I'm gonna say, but we'll test that out later. Let's take a look at the bad boy, though. Now, I ordered the unlocked version of this versus one from a like a pre-programmed one for like AT&T, which is my service provider. And Samsung did a great job with this before we get into it, because when you order directly from them, they kind of did that free upgrade thing that they usually do with your storage. Because I remember it used to be if you ordered like 128 gig, they would give you the 256. Now, this is a 512 gig, but it was the same price as the 256 gig. So I guess they kind of did the same thing. But this thing looks hefty. It was supposed to be thinner than all the other Ultras, but it is kind of a new design. Now let's take this little cover off the screen, and offhand, this thing, you can't really even tell of any bezels. And I went with like a silver variant of this, just because my old one was the white one. As you can see, I kind of cracked the back, if that's showing in the camera. Now, what made me upgrade? Well, one, the S22, I've had it for 3 years now, and it's still a fantastic phone. However, the battery just keeps draining. Like, I could charge it, and then at 100%, it can be down to 60 in like a half hour, with me not even really using it all that much. And also, I've noticed it doesn't like to charge fully to 100 anymore. It'll charge for like 95 or 94, and kind of say it's fully charged, even though it's not. So, let's get into the specs of this real quick, because this is using a customized version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor that is supposed to be better on performance and battery life due to power efficiency, which I'm hoping that it is. Samsung touted this, that you could watch videos up to 31 hours under their testing circumstances. With my current S22 Ultra, I'd be lucky if I got like an hour and a half. Now, comparing the two, they are actually very similar in thickness, with the S25 Ultra here and the S22 Ultra over here. But what's interesting is just how much it seems like they've beefed up the camera lenses. Now, the S25 Ultra, at least the bezels, if you want to call them that, for the camera lenses, seem very much thicker and bigger. I like how they went with the titanium, I believe, on the outside. It feels very premium. Hopefully, the back of this I don't crack like I eventually somehow do with all my Galaxy devices. And it just feels nice. It feels sturdy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nice. Now, two things that I'm going to nitpick from the first moment of like looking at this. The original Galaxy S's, at least the Captivate that I had, it had a little cover that would go over your charging area that would kind of protect the charging port when not in use. See, that to many people might not be a big thing, but for me, my USB ports, whether it be the USB micros or the USB-Cs in recent times, tend to just stop working after, or at least working efficiently, after like a year or two, where like the cable will start popping out. Even if I clean it, it seems to not really even do the trick, and it's very annoying for that matter. So, you know, I really wish they would just bring that back. Now, returning with the Galaxy S25 is the integrated S Pen. Samsung has removed Bluetooth connectivity this year for the S Pen, and it's because they said only about 1% of their user base was using the Bluetooth connectivity, which could be used for a camera shutter and whatnot. And for me, a guy who records content very much, I used it for the camera shutter. So I think for the first time ever in my life, I was a part of the 1%. And, you know, it's weird because the button's still there. I don't know what that button would otherwise be used for, because I just kind of used it for the camera shutter, and it clicks as if it was still like the camera shutter button. Now, I know you can use it to draw and whatnot, and I assume it has other use cases, and you know, the screen will still notice it and whatnot. So I'm going to throw that back in here. It is a different kind of stylus too, and unfortunately, Samsung has stated that they're not retroactively compatible, so I can't use my Bluetooth stylus on this phone, so I'm going to have to find a better way to start recording videos and content using this phone. Now, speaking of recording, what we need to talk about are the cameras. Now, I'm hoping there is a little cheat sheet on here because we have a bunch of different cameras on here. So I know the main camera is a 200 megapixel, and then you have a 12 megapixel front facing camera, which is down from, I believe, the 40 that's on the S22 Ultra, and then a bunch of different lenses that I really don't remember what their megapixels are. I think 2 of them are like 50, and I'm going to do a little camera test later on to kind of show, I guess, the quality of the photos coming from this new device, right? So apparently, also, the fact that the front-facing camera is now only a 12 megapixel versus the 40 on the S22 doesn't really make all that much of a difference. See, I grew up thinking megapixels mattered, kind of like how megabytes matter on computers. But apparently the software on these phones now are fantastic. So what I'm going to do, since we've gone over kind of the outside, the exterior, the S Pen, I want to power this bad boy up and, you know, transfer my data over, play around with it a little bit, get it charged up, and then we'll talk about kind of some hands-on impressions and what I think of this device. I like kind of how heavy it is. It is very reminiscent of the S22, except it's not edged and curved like how they were doing for a while. It kind of feels like it has its own identity versus it being like the Note successor. So like I said, let me charge this up, let me get this ready to go, and then we'll do a little bit of testing and comparisons. All right, now that my data is all transferred over, my background and all that went successfully, I wanted to focus on talking about the peak brightness realistically for a second, because the S22 Ultra, which I have here with the Canon camera open, is at full brightness. Now, the S25 Ultra is rated at 2,600 nits of brightness, to my knowledge, with HDR, HDR+, and that's not even at full brightness. Now, if I turn this all the way up, you can kind of just see how bright this thing can get. At least I hope it comes across well on the camera. It becomes a very, very bright device. One thing, though, that I'm noticing that's very different is the S22 Ultra uses Android 14, and I think it's using One UI 6, and the S25 comes preloaded with Android 15. Certain things about the phone are a little different. Like, I'm used to swiping down to see my notifications, which is fine, but I'm also used to being able to swipe down a little bit more to get to the top of the menu, as you can kind of see here, like that, on the S22. However, on the S25, it seems like you have to swipe on the other side of the screen to bring up that same menu. Now, that's something, I guess, worth getting used to. However, it's kind of just odd as to why that would be a change. I do like kind of the interface look of Android 15. Now that we can move the S22 out of the way, let's zoom in a little bit. Now, it has a more refined, kind of like cleaner, sleeker look. If you can see on the camera, just some of like the buttons look a little different. It looks a little cleaner than it did previously, and I'm kind of all for it. Now, it's very snappy, as you can tell, and it's very smooth. This does have a, I believe it's like a 1440p screen with 120 hertz of refresh rate. One thing, though, that was a big seller, I believe, for a lot of people on the S25 Ultra are the new integrated AI tools. Now, Samsung has had AI on their phones for a little bit, but there is a partnership between Samsung with Bixby and Google with Gemini for the S25 Ultra, and you activate the AI by holding the button on the side here. That's kind of like the power button. It'll open up Gemini. As you can see, it's already recording what I'm saying, but let's not have that record. Let's try to ask it something new. Let's see how different the experience is with AI. Let's see what Gemini can actually do. Hey Gemini, can you write me a poem based on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra?
A titan of tech, a gleam in the hand. The Galaxy S25 Ultra, across the land, a whisper of future in sleek sculpted form, weathering storms and keeping you warm. 5 lenses aligned, a celestial array, capturing moments that brighten the day. From starlight's soft shimmer to landscapes so grand, a universe captured, held in your hand. The screen.
All right, we're going to exit out of that now. That's kind of cool that the integrated AI features work very well. I think I might want to see what kind of YouTube descriptions that can get me. Maybe it can write a better description than I usually write for myself, and maybe give me a little bit more views, you know. I didn't think AI was going to really be my thing. However, it's kind of cool to just play around with it. I want to see fully, though, how well the speakers work. So in an LTT staple, you know, I've learned from them, we're going to play Crab Rabe only because I'm pretty sure it doesn't get flagged if you play it. So I want to see how well it is. There's a lot of bass here, it seems, which I'm all for. A lot of advertisements, too. So let's see. Okay, so that's a really cool speaker. It's very bassy. It's very loud. I'm all for it, and I think this is a really cool phone to have a good speaker on. You know, after having some phones with some bad speakers in the past, every year when Samsung revitalizes their flagship series, it just seems to keep getting better and better. Now, I want to go into a few more little things before we close this video. Hopefully it looks this clear when I put it in the video to have it in the final product. We're going to take some pictures also and then add them right about now. So first I'm going to start with the selfie camera, and we're going to go and test out like the regular front-facing camera, all those good things. So this is using the back video lens. I'm shooting this at 8K 30. I know it's going to be condensed down when it hits YouTube, but the quality for this looks relatively good and very smooth. Now, my final honest thoughts of the S22 Ultra is actually that it's a very cool, like, dynamic phone. And I say dynamic because it has a lot of what you would expect from Galaxy phones, except it's all finely spruced up and looks very nice. Even when you're going through the, like your app catalog, it doesn't show the search on the top anymore. It defaults to the bottom. I don't know if that's an Android 15 thing, but going through the menus, it's very snappy. I was happy that this came with 61% battery life, so I was able to transfer all my files over. And I look forward to playing around with this more. As you can see, I did throw the case on it already because, you know, knowing me, I will break this very soon after getting it, and I'm not trying to spend an extra $1,200 on a new phone. But I do like how the case, you know, little thing accents the cameras a little bit. When putting it on the table originally, it was very, like, wobbly, and it would tilt, and I didn't really like that. The case kind of stables it out a little bit, which is perfectly fine for me. Now, if you guys are looking to upgrade from your previous phone, whether it be a Galaxy phone, a Pixel, an iPhone, anything that's out there, flip phone for all I know, I think the S25 Ultra is probably going to be the best phone that's out there right now with that custom Snapdragon 8 processor. The awesome cameras, I love that they give you so many different camera options on the back. Hopefully those front-facing videos and pictures show up on screen as nice as they looked when I was taking these, because I'm going to be filming a lot of content for the channel using probably this phone like I normally do. I have this Canon camera that I use for special things like this, just for the image quality, but you know, normally a lot of my stuff comes from the phone. Do I think this was a good purchase? Well, so far playing around with it, I do like it. I do like the AI properties of it. I know some people might be a little skeptical with artificial intelligence, but you know, if you use them for good, they're probably fine, right? Here I am talking about this as if I really know what really happens in the AI atmosphere, aside from asking for it to write a poem about this phone for me. But it did it, and it did it relatively quickly. So yeah, guys, I think with having my hands on the S25 Ultra, so far everything is running smooth. I'm going to charge this battery up. I hope it, you know, ends up charging a lot quicker and lasts a lot longer than the S22 Ultra would, and the cable doesn't, you know, end up popping out on itself. This is a cool new device. Like I said, the only two things I really didn't like is they still don't cover the charging port like they used to, and losing the Bluetooth capability with the S Pen. Being that 1% for that is going to be a little rough, because I'm going to have to go back to editing a little bit more and using hand motions to start capture. But aside from that, I think this is a good upgrade. You know, upgrading from a phone that I got 3 years ago now and did an unboxing video for then. It's kind of crazy that it's been 3 years since then. I kind of want to go back and watch that video, see how much I've changed, see how my video style has changed, if it's changed any bit. But, you know, we're all supposed to grow, so hopefully it has. But if you guys like this video, you know, like, share, subscribe, comment on it. Had you got your S25 series phone in early? If so, what do you think of it? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. What other things could I have looked at on here in this review that I might have glanced over? I do believe this has options to go up to Wi-Fi 7, which, you know, really is just going to be good for future-proofing it. It's connecting for me at Wi-Fi 6, because that's what my home network is right now. But I like the changes they made to Android 15. Some of the ones feel like the camera act, that it is like an iPhone clone when in the cameras, even though Samsung pictures to me are always better. But I guess, you know, trying to tone it down a little bit, give it a more simplistic look. You know, we have a 6.9-inch screen here versus a 6.8 on the S22 Ultra. I really kind of wish I had the previous version phone, like the S22 Ultra here, for direct comparison, but I do not have the money to be upgrading my phone every year. So this was a good little comparison of the two anyway, in my opinion, because it's going to be a cool upgrade for me. And if you're kind of just a normal dude, not a tech enthusiast, or a normal gal who can only really afford to upgrade your phones every so often, the S25 Ultra might be the time to take the jump for that and go with it. Like I said, guys, I'll catch you later. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Please give me a subscribe. Until next time, I will catch you later. See ya. Bye.